Good afternoon, folks. It's your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Anyway, I have a special guest today, a lady who is a competitive bodybuilder. She is one Mrs. Wendy Sanchez, and she is from the Mile High state of Colorado. And she's also the winner of the Women's Bodybuilding 40 Plus Pittsburgh Pro Masters. So, hello, Miss Sanchez.
Hello.
Yeah. So, we appreciate you for coming by, and doing this interview with us because we want to, like I said, a lot of people want to know a lot of ladies about yourselves and how you got into the sport, and just anything else.
Okay. Well, I guess how it got started, I've always been involved in team sports ever since I was young, played soccer, softball, that kind of stuff. Well, and I also played competitively in college at Ohio State in softball. So once that was all over with and you get into the real world, you kind of miss competition. You miss all that stuff that kind of kept you going when you were younger. So after I had a child, I got into fitness just to improve myself after having a baby, and saw a friend who did a competition, and I said, well, she can do it, I can do it. And that's kind of what got it all started. I'm a little different than some of these competitors, I think, because I got started in this in my late 30s to start. So it wasn't something I started in my 20s, and was on a competitive stage. I started it much later in life than I think a lot of competitors do. So I've been at it probably for the last 7 or 8 years, and that's pretty much what got me going later in life.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good because, like I said, there is a growing number of women who get into sport later in life. There's a lot of ladies who are around your age. Some got in it for health reasons. Some, like your situation, you had a child and you want to get a little healthier. You have a lot of women who started when they were younger. They had you did had a natural athletic background, like generally like quite a lot of female bodybuilders, and it's just a progression from one sport to another.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Just finding something to stay competitive in, because if you have a competitive nature or personality, you kind of miss that when you're out of competition.
Yeah, I understand. Cause I used to play high school football, and when I quit because I had a job and I had, needed to work, and I quit, and and just I missed that camaraderie you have with
Exactly.
and you in the gym, you're working out, and I was one of the strongest guys in my on my team. And one time we had a little, if you have a bull session where we all get, put you in a circle and everybody comes at you from different sides. I was just bouncing guys off and say, "Dang, George, he's strong."
I'll
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah. Well, we have one of my a dear friend of mine, my brother from CS Combat Sports, Marcus Bell. He always comes by and he likes to say, "Hey to you, Wendy, coming through, smashing that like." And I appreciate it. I appreciate all of y'all, coming to the special like. Also, if you want to, I have Mrs. Sanchez's information, her social media. So you want to say hello, just ask her some questions if you're interested. But also, fellas, I got a rule: don't say no weird stuff to these ladies. You gotta be respectful. This is a married woman, and you gotta be respectful. Cause I know some of you guys, you get, you smokes out there, you get a little, come say, come saw, like my man, the coach says, and we see these buff, muscular women.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
You're welcome.
I don't think my husband would appreciate much of that either. So
Yeah,
thank you.
because I know a lot of you ladies, people don't think that female bodybuilders, can have kids and be mothers, but they can be. I did a comparison series a while back where for Mother's Day, for me, where I talked about a lot of female bodybuilders who are mothers, who have children, and how old is your daughter?
My daughter is 12. So once again, I had a daughter a little bit later in life than most ladies. So I had her when I was 35 years old, not in my 20s. So once again, that was one of those things that everything happened a little bit later, and here we are. So
Well, that's not too bad because, like I said, it happens quite often. There's people who, decide that you want to have a children and you want to settle down, and then as long as you can have them, that's a little beautiful thing. Now, what she thinks as as your mom, her mom has muscles, and when you together,
Well, I'm definitely the spectacle at school events with her, but I said, "Does that embarrass you?" And she said, "No way." She's like, "All the kids think you're cool as hell." So, I get a little worried about that, but apparently at this age, at 12 years old, they think a muscular mom is pretty cool. So it's been good so far, and it's she follows some of what we do, watching our dieting and stuff. Not that she goes to the extreme diets that that we get into for prep, but it's helped her make some healthy choices and some of her eating habits as well. And it had also has gotten her interested in wanting to do some strength training and stuff. So we do, stuff that's more related for a 12-year-old kid. But, I let her in on stuff and give her some direction. So that's pretty cool that without forcing her into it, she's gained some interest in it, which is kind of cool.
that's pretty good because I think that's the great when you inspire the youth to do something because especially nowadays kids they're too much involved in social media and video games. Like when we was kids, we out the country and we played and we had fun. We maybe watch TV now and then. Like I said, when I was coming up, especially in the '80s, one of the most popular shows that was for animation was He-Man because
Yep.
yeah, and that was my nickname of my older brother. He used to call him He Man because he played football too. He was pretty good. He got up to college level. He eventually came back home, and he used to collect the muscle mags. And I used to like looking through them because Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lee Haney, those guys. And then the women was just something totally different. I was especially I think it blew my pubescent teenage mind with women with muscle like that. And I really got into it more. I still like to respect the guys, but I really got more into women. And then doing this and becoming myself, as you know, I'm the emperor of female bodybuilding talk. I really started learning a lot of stuff. Like there's so much stuff that people who are not in the sport don't know. And what do you share of your experiences as being, competing in two different divisions? You competed at physique for a while, and you made the switch to bodybuilding.
Yeah, this season was trying to figure out where I fit. One of the problems I have with my body shape is that I'm short, so I'm barely 5'2", and as such, I'm built kind of like a stump. I don't have a real thin waistline like some of these longer, taller ladies do. So especially in women's physique, they really want that thin waistline. They really
Hmm.
want a more feminine kind of physique to it. And I have trouble with that because of the way I'm built. And it seems that I've, based upon what I did this year, it seems like my physique is being more rewarded or understood a little bit better in the bodybuilding. But that has some challenges too. I'm 5'2", I'm 47 years old, and the feedback I get is you need bigger legs, you need bigger this, you need bigger that. Well, at my age, it's very tough to grow a lot of bigger stuff. So um, it, it's just trying to find where I can make improvements and just see what happens.
Yeah, because like I said, like I said, one thing that's why I think you're bouncing back between because you did New York Pro as your debut, then you did the Puerto Rico as a physique, then you did the Pittsburgh Pro Masters, and you competed in women's 40 plus in bodybuilding. And this is the debate. Like I said, that's the thing with women who are older. Unless you started this when you're younger, it's hard to maintain that volume of muscle.
Yep.
And yeah, and just that's why I think you competed at the women's masters, and I was talking about with some ladies over here, and there's another master show coming up in October, the same week at the Olympia. So are you thinking about doing that show, or are you just done for the season?
No, I'm done for the season. Trying to maintain the shred for, a couple months at a time. My body was tired. Because between doing the New York Pro to the Omaha Pro, it wasn't Puerto Rico, it was the Omaha Pro,
Oh,
and
okay.
then onto the Pittsburgh Masters Pro. That was a period of time of about 2.5, 3 months, and Yeah, it's not good to try to. I mean, I know some ladies do it, but if I'm going to be on stage, I'm going to be at the best possible physique I can be at. I don't like to, just be on stage to be on stage. If I'm going to be there, I want to be in the best tip top condition. So that's why I just decided this year's over. I got some feedback that I needed, and I'm just going to work and prepare for the next season.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, right. Yeah, we have a lady who follows me on this channel. That's Miss Fishiana. She does content. She does boxing. She's an old friend of mine from the liquor spot. If you ever check out the liquor spot, you still having it. And she says, "Good afternoon." And I said, "Good afternoon, Miss Fishiana. Appreciate you coming back." And yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, there's a lot of ladies who are, they do 3 or 4 shows in a year. I mean, it's a lot of, and we just had a situation where we had, if you know about Lena Havani, and she passed away,
Yeah.
and that is just shocking. And just had no more than a week before that, John Meadows, and
Yeah.
it's just, and this is just the stress of on the body is just very dangerous. I mean, I've seen a lot of people talking about it now. Right now, I'm planning on doing on Sunday. I'm gonna do a conversation. I got some ladies coming through, and if you want, I'll see you leak. You want to check it out and listen to it? That'd be cool. But that's the thing with this sport is that people point in it and saying like you're on drugs, you're on drugs, you're on drugs, but then there's other sports where there's more drug use.
Well, I mean, there everything from fat burners to whether you're using performance enhancers to diuretics. I mean, it cuts across all kinds of sports. I mean, it's not just bodybuilding. Bodybuilding just accentuates the fact that you can see that somebody's utilizing something, but yeah, it's not limited to bodybuilding or physique or that. That's for sure.
Yeah, because I remember I was talking with a lady who I'm a friend of, and she told me that even ballerinas use steroids.
I would assume. I mean, that's the amount of strength, and they have to keep their physique at a certain level too to be able to be lifted and do certain things as well. So I would agree with that.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Now, what now when you first competed, what was your feeling? How did you feel when you hit the stage the first time?
Honestly, as a mother who was trying to fix her physique, I was terrified. Um, you know, the first time that you're going to stand on a stage and probably the smallest bikini you've ever worn, um, that can be kind of scary. But it was one of those after you do it once. And I tell a lot of people this: you get into bodybuilding, you do your first competition, you're either going to go one way or the other. You're going to be like, wow, that was awesome. I know I can get better. I'm in. Or you're going to be like, I hated that and I'm never ever going to do it again. So I was one of those that I got over the fear, got up there and I said, dang, I can do better. Let's try this again. And that's how it kept going.
And it's good that you have support with your daughter, your husband, the rest of your family. I mean, but also you have to deal with some people who have the issue with women with muscle, which I talk about quite often. Is that we have those out there who like make comments like, "Oh, you're trying to be a man," but here's the thing like this: this lady here has a kid. She's married. I don't see where she's trying to be a man. And you ever had to deal with some jagoff who sees you in the gym and he's like he can't even push as much weight as you can.
No, that's just so that you understand. My husband and I actually own a gym. We operate a gym out here in Colorado called Dark Horse Fitness, and so um, actually most of the membership that we have inside of our gym, they understand the hard work because they watch me daily in there, and they understand what it takes to do and look the way I do, and quite frankly, many of them are like, yeah. I see how you look, but there's no way I'd be able to do that. But it's funny because when we bring new people into we have kind of like a crew that works out together outside of just normal, being a trainer or something like that where you get paid to do it. But we have a group of people that we normally work out together. And anytime somebody new comes into the group, it's fun to watch the guys, on the first round try to outlift you. And then they realize that after they're sore as heck and, just burnt out after the first couple sets of something, they know they got to tone it back and work up to the same weight level. But it tends to push them a lot. I've seen a lot of them push themselves just because I'm standing there pulling or pushing more weight than them. So that's kind of fun to watch that. But I don't take offense to it, honestly. I get more disgusting comments on social media. If somebody doesn't agree with me, that's the first derogatory comment. Oh, you look like a man. Okay, whatever. And I understand that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I don't expect to be. And you know, but it doesn't offend me. I kind of brush it to the side and move on.
Like I say, I think, like I said, you have a beautiful physique. It's very lean, very, probably classic from like early to mid '90s physique. Like someone like a lady who I follow, Miss Dr. Dina Westerfield. You got also you have young upcomers like Michaela Aycock.
Yeah.
Yeah, just lean. You're both are short. And I often say this: shorter women just seem like they can, shorter female body, but say they can pack on a good amount of muscle. I mean, I think because their body's more compact compared to women who are a lot taller. And it's like I was talking with a lady who I follow. We done an interview with, and actually in good church with Miss Tina S. Williams, and she tells me like it's harder for her because she's tall to put on the muscle that she wants to put on.
Yeah, and I think also the cut for the taller, larger women is also a little more difficult. Trying to get the same leanness and have their body, function. I think is also harder for the larger women. But the funny thing I find is, being the shorter woman, and people see a picture of me with no context around it, and they're like, "You're huge." I'm like, I'm 5'2", and I was on stage at 120 pounds. That's not huge. It's the aesthetics of the cut and the detail that makes you look huge. But I'm really not huge.
No, yeah, but like I said, it's always like you said, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and you still beside women who were like twice your size. I know I saw you that you took, as you know, you at the show you were the Pittsburgh Pro was against Claudia Marie, who was a bigger woman, and
Yes.
you won. And that's told you that the judges are looking for a particular physique. I know as I talked to some ladies about conditioning. Now, it's not about size anymore as it used to be as I was coming up as a fan of bodybuilding. And I hear people say it's not about size anymore, it's about conditioning. As you know, at the Tampa Bay, you had someone like Mona Porcella and Heather Hunter Henderson who made the top two. And they're very like I think about your height and Hunter being young and very lean. And I think that's the look they're looking for. I think that I think it's get like if you look also in your division, the physique, as you know, Sarah Vegas, she won and beat Shanique Grant. And the thing was, I think what people were telling me because they want to go back to Donalyn Bailey.
Well, that's the thing is it's a balance, right? I mean, a lot of the women's bodybuilding started to dry up and didn't have the interest because it was freakish looking. And, it's kind of cool that somebody worked that hard, but is that what wants to be seen by the fans of bodybuilding? And I think they're trying to figure out as a whole, what do the fans want to see? And what is the aesthetics that they want to see? And I think that's where they're trying to get back to more of the classic look. You not only see it in women's side, but you're seeing it on the men's side too, right? Classic physique coming in, thinner waist, going back to that instead of just the crazy freakish size. And as we all know, the crazy freakish size and the amount of stuff you have to do that is killing off, some of the better bodybuilders left and right. And it's not healthy as well, right?
Yeah. But I think with the men can be big and freakish compared to the women. Like
yes.
you saw at Olympia, Big Ramy, he won. And he's a big freak. And then in the Miss Olympia, you had Andrea Shaw, who I like Andrea Shaw. She's very beautiful. Her looks are kind of, she cute. She reminds me of an old school bodybuilder I was a fan of back in the day, and that was Audrey Harris White. She has those, she has a very model looking face, very, very attractive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she is beautiful. She is.
Yeah. To quote my favorite character, the Joker, that's my and yes, she is beautiful. I'm a big Batman fan. I love the whole Chris Nolan thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, like I said, this thing is like one thing we talk about is that the cost of being a female bodybuilder, being a competitive, is crazy compared to the men. Where, like I was talking to some ladies, they said that all guys got to do is get a $50 banana hammock, and that's about it.
Pretty much. We
Yeah.
have to pay for hair, makeup, and most of our suits for the finals are can be upward of anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. Then you throw the tanning on top of it, and then all the expenses to travel and stay. I mean, I think when it's all said and done, and this doesn't include training and any of the other supplements or anything else that we do in the gym. I mean, it's an expensive venture for females for sure.
Yeah, because like I say, it's just crazy. Because like I said, I just the lady who I did an interview with, who I follow, we stay in contact. Jada Beverly, she's right now doing a GoFundMe. I just posted it on my Lions Den bodybuilding community. I want to help like you ladies because I know it's expensive for y'all to do what he do. Even when you win the prize money, it's not even a drop in the bucket between you all these other expenses plus taxes. You gotta pay taxes because remember, Al Capone. Al Capone, one of the biggest criminals, gangsters, bootleggers, everything. He got caught by the tax man.
Yep. Yeah, the biggest thing though is I think women are starting to gain traction in the sport, and so women are starting to be a bigger following. Whereas in the past, go back, when Dana Lynn Bailey won the Olympia, I think she got $7,000. That was her paycheck. And there you had, Phil Heath with a $400,000 check. But back in that time, there wasn't the sponsorships for the products and stuff was all around men. Women weren't the product sellers. They weren't selling the products. And it kind of fits that way. Who draws the crowds through the Olympia, who sells the products. It was centered around the men. So they were making the bigger paychecks. And I think the women are starting to attract more of a women population in. So now we are the buyers of the products and we're the ones showing up to the competitions to watch. So I think you're going to kind of see that scale tip a little bit. It's understandable because I know there's, even in other sports, you have the soccer and some of the professional soccer and professional basketball player women complaining about, the disparity in pay. Well, they can't pay you something that you don't bring in. They can't pay you when they aren't getting ticket sales. So yeah, we all like to be equal, but it all has to come back to where the money's made, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I follow combat sports. I've been a fan of it since boxing. I'm also a fan of MMA, and we talk about I'm part of a group called CS Combat Sports. We are part of a group called the LD BC, the Lions Den boxing community, and we talk about how that's the same thing with boxing compared to MMA. As you know, a boxer, like remember Floyd Mayweather, he wouldn't get out of bed for anything under $10 million. While Conor McGregor, who's probably the highest paid MMA fighter at the time, he's making maybe $2 or $3 million. And it's just recently there was a fighter by the name of Cheyenne Baez. She just won her fight about a few weeks ago. I think what is her base pay for fighting? She'll pay like maybe $15,000 to $12,000, and then she got a $50,000 performance of the night fight for knocking out another woman. And these fighters, it's just she's so passionate and happy because that's money she can use.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I know bodybuilding for me it doesn't pay my bills. I mean, to be quite honest, it's a hobby. Even the win at Pittsburgh for Masters, that's even less dollars than if you're in an open. Yeah, it didn't even pay for what I had to pay for registration. So
yeah, because.
So to me, it's like, this is a hobby and I do it because I love it and it keeps me healthy and I like the way I look right now. So that's, and I think a lot of women in bodybuilding, except for maybe those that truly are at the very top of the class of the game, we're in it because we love it and we love doing it. Not so much because there's a ton of dollars associated with it.
Yeah, because I think that's why a lot of ladies, I guess I follow, they, find alternate ways because you and your husband have a business, and and that helps you out with your training and fans. Because I remember I said things you say if you have like a GoFundMe or something like that, to send you say you don't have that. So that's that. But other ladies do. I mean, they have GoFundMe's, they do. They have PayPal's, Venmo, Cash App. And also the ladies do the other stuff on the side, like video sessions, new sessions, because there's a very fantasy and fetish thing to female bodybuilders, and that's how some ladies make their money. And I remember back in the day there was because I've been following bodybuilding since I was uh 13, 14, and and I remember but back before then you didn't see female bodybuilders as sex offense. And then you had somebody like Denise Massino, who kind of changed the sport a bit when she came in and brought some sex appeal to it. And then I remember a story where one guy said he was with a lady who was a friend of his. She was from a bodybuilder, and she was carrying this bag. And we opened the bag; it was full of cash because she was doing sessions and she was making. That's how she made her cash.
Yeah, you'll see that's a lot different about me. If you look at my social media accounts, I don't, when I get prepped and ready for competitions, I'll throw some photos out there. But honestly, I'm not into, throwing tons of photos of myself and tons of workout videos, this, that, or the other out there. It's just, that's not why I'm in it. Like I said, I just love the challenge of getting better, and I love the competition side of it. And that's pretty much why I'm in it. And I guess that makes me a little different from a lot of the other those in the fitness world when it comes to social media, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a lot to do for being in such a serious sport as bodybuilding, and it's a lot of work, and like I said, I often say this: ladies do sport for a passion, and you have to have a passion for the sport.
Agreed.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you could, do what would you do? What changes would you want to see in the sport?
Honestly, the one thing I wish they would do, and I don't know if anybody's ever petitioned, but women's bodybuilding needs a 212 division, kind of like the men's bodybuilding, to give the shorter, smaller girls a different forum that aren't going to be the huge mass monsters, to give us a way to compete against each other without being outdone by just sheer mass. If they could institute I would think at a female size, like a 130 division, so you have to be under 130 or something like that. I honestly think it would promote more girls jumping over to bodybuilding, because I know a lot of women on the physique side don't want to jump to bodybuilding because of the size differential. So, and that would be a way for them to enter and be on the bodybuilding side without, without competing against because when I stand on stage, I feel like I'm the teeniest one every time I'm up there on the bodybuilding stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember back in the day, like in around about the 2000s, when there was almost no Miss Olympia, they did create a late class that lasted for about 3 or 4 years, and then they dropped it and went back to, all weights, everything goes, and that's what I think physique is kind of, I would say, is like light. Now I won't say lightweight. I would say the middleweight class of female bodybuilding. You have figure. If you look at the figure girls, some of those girls are shredded. They are just not as huge, but they are shredded. And I think it's more like lightweight.
Well, I also think that several of the women's physique, if they showed up on a bodybuilding stage, would put some of the bodybuilding women to shame. I don't know if it's just the stigma that comes with women's bodybuilding, that everybody thinks they're just full of juice, or they just like the posing of the women's physique versus women's bodybuilding. But I'll tell you what, some of those women's physique ladies could stand on a stage with the women's bodybuilders and just put them to shame, I think.
That's a debate.
Well, I've seen some pretty big ones, and they look great. So.
Like I know some ladies I talking to said there should be a weight cutoff for physique, because there's girls who I've seen look bigger than some of than the division. And also there's also, there's a physique has kind of like, they have kind of like a master's division, because they had a Tampa Bay, and I think like you said, bodybuilders should also have matches, because there's a lot of women who I've seen that they're competing head to head with women who are much younger, who have the size, the conditioning, and it's just it's just getting I think getting tough. I mean, you compete with someone like you got to stand shoulder to shoulder with someone like Hella Tavinos and Marge V. Martin or Andrea
Yeah.
Shaw. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you feel like a little kid.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah,
Yep.
because you made your pro, your bodybuilding pro into New York, and then there was like one lady who I'm following, I've been talking to is Leah Denny, and she was I think she's a little older than you, right?
Yeah, she's one of the masters levels ladies as well, but I think she competes mainly in just the open, but she's worked her way to get to that first place finish that she got
Yeah,
from my understanding as well. So
yeah, because you took fifth place that show. I think it was you and women that was over the probably Ann Shanny. She was like I think Ann is about your age, maybe a little older.
yep,
And Ladonna Day, I think she's a little younger. She's
yep.
like maybe her, and she didn't really come in some great condition for that show.
No, that was one of the things that I mean. Uh, I don't know if you watched any videos of the judging, but before a single pose was called, I was moved to the fifth place division or fifth place spot and wasn't looked at for the rest of the competition, which kind of was a little irritating, considering when you looked at aside from Leah Denny, she was pretty conditioned. I mean, if you looked at us from the front and the rear, we were the two most conditioned people on the stage, and apparently that didn't account for anything other than some sheer size. So that was a little disappointing. I'll be honest with you. But I also got some feedback around my midsection, which I took to heart and tried to improve on. And I came back in both physique and the later competition and tried to bring my waist down as much as I could. And so that helped a little bit. So that might have hurt me a lot in New York as well. But yeah, that competition was a little disappointing. I felt like I was thrown to the fifth spot without any consideration right before any particular pose was even called. So it is what it is, but that's what drives me to get better. So
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, I
what
know
are you gonna
it's
do, right?
well. You could like you say like you can go home and you got a gym. You can punch your bag big as matches the judge and go like Rocky Balboa goes whoo 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 whoo.
Yep. Well, my philosophy is you got to go home and work on whatever they tell you and make it so that it can't be the excuse for next time, right?
Yeah, everybody I got here is somebody who is just dropped. His name is Reginald. I'm not saying his last name, but Reginald. He said that Elena. I forget. I don't know this chick's name. I mean, it's hard pronouncing these names. It's the greatest physique of all time. Bigger is better. Love the heavyweights.
That's
Ain't
not
like,
me.
yeah, it's not. That's some. I don't know who this lady's talking about. I think I recognize the name. I think she's a Russian chick, very lean or something like that. I've seen
Yep.
pictures of her. Because you see comment section, you see that's her name. I don't know how to say it. I'm not gonna try to chop up anybody's name.
Yep.
Yeah, because I try to be. I try to research, especially when I do content. And if I get somebody with a strange name, I got a lady who's coming up tomorrow. One Miss Shay Machada, and and she's from Texas. She's a little way away from Houston, and I want to talk. Like I said, I want to really talk to you ladies who I could say like this: you have your boots to the ground, 10 toes down.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Well, Machada, I actually got to see her compete in Omaha in women's physique, and she's got a great physique, and she's got real presence on the stage too. She's fantastic.
yeah, that's pretty cool. It's good. Like I know this, it's a community with you ladies. Y'all cross paths. Y'all, even though some of you might be in different divisions, y'all might be at the same shows. I know it's competition. Sometimes you might even meet that same person in because I know you be back and forth, and so is she because I know she did the Tampa Bay, and then she did the Texas Pro in physique. She did the bodybuilding. She did the physique.
Gotcha. I didn't see her do any bodybuilding. I didn't know that she was crossing over, but to
Hmm.
me, I thought her physique, she's one of the top competitors in physique by looking at her, in my opinion.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's I'll let her know that when I do our interview tomorrow.
No worries.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, like I said, this is just I enjoy talking to you ladies because I get a lot of information. I get to learn something about not just you, but also about your sport. And if you could give anybody advice get into the sport, what would it be?
Um, well, if you're going to jump into sport, you need to research. And like we said before, you really need to understand the costs of what it takes to do the sport. And if you don't have the money, don't put yourself into it. And without understanding that first. And then two, getting a pro top level physique doesn't happen overnight. It's a marathon, and every season's all about getting better. I see that with just local clients and stuff. Well, how long till will it take till I look like you? I'm like, well, I don't know if you'll ever look like me. That's something you have to have the dedication and motivation for over several years. It took me 7 years to get to this point. It's not something that happens. If you look at my first competition, which I think you had some pictures and some of that intro that you had,
Yeah,
at that time I thought it looked pretty good, and now I put today's pictures against that and I'm like, wow. What a difference, right? So
yeah, yeah. The quote. Well, like I said, I told you before, I'm a big fan of the granola fun. As a quote, what Thomas Wayne said, "Say, son Bruce, Bruce, why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves up."
exactly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Regno, I'm just calling Regno, says the biggest tip I ever learned was to see a chiropractor first.
Okay. Why was that?
I don't know. He just, I think one thing is I know a lot of ladies say that, especially when you do the posings, it really can really stress on your body.
Yeah, it can. I think it's all about staying flexible, and maybe yoga helps with that a little bit. But that's one thing that does get difficult when when you put on some mass and you have muscle, is it makes some of that posing and flexibility. It can be difficult if you aren't trying to stay flexible. Um, and that's one of the things opposing coaches tell me. You look so rigid. You need to loosen up. Well, it's
Yeah.
hard when you've got so much mass on you to try to stretch that out and loosen it up.
Yeah. 'Cause I remember back in the day, if you remember her, this is a bodybuilder by the name Betty Pariso. And she said, they used to say that the problem was why she wasn't doing so well because she was kind of rigid. And then she started doing some crazy poses. One of the poses I love is the crab pose. It's the men do it, but they don't want the women to do it. And here, this is what like I said, I'm part of the SMO nation, and the guys tell it like this: like it is, it is the most muscular pose a woman can do, but also it's the most very erotic pose a woman can do. That's why I think she was doing better after she started doing that pose.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's something about it. Just when y'all ladies taking because I remember when Bev Francis before she retired and her last Miss Olympia, she was just amazing. I know she was the one kind of changed the sport. She came in just a huge muscle, just mass
Yep.
monster, and then she was trying to water herself down. And then that last Miss Olympia, she came in like a mass monster. I mean, I even liked how the light just shining off her skin. It's like like a night getting shine going into battle and shining the armor.
She just went in there and said, I'm going to go as ripped and as big as I can. And here I am.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that was just a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, and like I said, we appreciate like Miss anybody. Like I said again, send your comments, saying share this video. Give a thank you, Mrs. Wendy Sanchez, because she's given us a lot of knowledge about the insides of her experience in bodybuilding. Because like I said, you have to respect these ladies what they do. They do this for a passion. It's expensive. They get a lot of it's a lot of guff to get, but they do this sport for a passion.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you inviting me on, and uh, I'm sure we'll keep in touch. And anytime I can help you out, let me know.
All right. Also, if you have anybody you want to shout out to, sponsors, stuff like that, family members, while you're here.
No, like I said, just all my family at Dark Horse Fitness that helps motivate me to keep me going is great, and of course my husband Edgar, who he competes as well. He's still in the amateur ranks, but if he weren't doing it with me, I don't know if I'd have the same amount of passion. So there you go.
Yeah, that's wonderful. There's quite a few couples that the couples that stayed that flex together that stays together.
Yes, sir.
Yes, man. Thank you. Well, like I said, well, we appreciate the time that Mrs. Wendy Sanchez came through. As I said again, the video, check her out on social media. Reach out to her if you're in the Colorado area. Go to a gym. What's your gym again?
Dark Horse Fitness up in Frederick, Colorado.
Yes, check it out. Check out her. Don't be intimidated if she's pushing 700 pounds more than you. Just start slow.
Exactly.
Well, like I said, I really thank you again, Mrs. Sanchez. I really, or may I call you Wendy?
Yes, you can.
All right, I want to be respectful. You always gotta remember, you gotta be respectful to a lady.
Yes, thank you. And we
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
Yeah, and we always gotta remember, like I said again, lady, guys, these are women. These are ladies. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's a competitor and an athlete. Respect them. Like I said again, when you do send something, no D pics, none.
None.
Be respectful. Anyway, this is me all the way George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk. I would like to thank again Mrs. Wendy Sanchez, and I'd like to thank y'all for coming by.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.